Good morning, Facebook family. Mike Toledo here. We are at WXAC Albright College Radio, 91.3 FM. We're going to be starting our show, Latino Voice Live, in a couple minutes. And again, the topics today are going to be topics that are front of mind for the community. Obviously, everyone's talking about the federal government's purchase of the warehouse in Hamburg. So we'll share, facts that we know, information that we've seen in reports, just to get that information out into the community. Then the second segment of our show, again, we're getting a lot of calls as it relates to just best practices and what we should do and how we should be prepared if in fact we come across any kind of ICE enforcement activity, immigration enforcement activity. So we'll share some again best practices as it relates to that, with again a focus on staying safe and keeping each other safe. So that's going to be the show today. So again, a topic that people are talking about, so we thought it's important to put it out into the community. Obviously, we'll be doing this in a bilingual format. Myself and our host, Yajaira, will share in Spanish. So that's what it's about. So give us a couple of minutes, and we'll be getting started shortly. You want to put a little message out there?
Okay,
is that comfortable?
Sí, buenos días a todo el mundo. Como dijo el señor Toledo, estamos aquí para dar información y hablar específicamente de un tema que es importante para nuestra comunidad, sobre el edificio o el almacén que se ha comprado el Gobierno Federal en Hamburg, que está aquí en Pensilvania. Y la segunda parte de nuestro episodio, right? Algo así, es para hablar sobre los derechos, o conocer sus derechos y qué debes de hacer o qué puedes hacer en esta situación, o lo que esperamos que va a suceder con nuestra comunidad. Ya regresamos en breve.
There you go. There you have it. So, yeah, give us maybe about 30 more seconds. You good? So I wrote just some information. Like I said, we'll put this out there. Just conversation, nothing serious. Well, serious, but conversation needs to be had.
Yeah. Ten conciencia conmigo que a veces el español está bueno hoy, pero.
Very well. All right, hermano. Whenever you want to get started, we'll go ahead.
You first, right?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Right?
Yeah. All right. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Latino Voice Live. This is Mike Toledo, and we have an important segment that we want to talk about today. Again, everybody has seen the news as it relates to the federal government purchasing a warehouse in Hamburg. So we want to talk about that. We want to share facts that we've been able to ascertain through the different reports that are out there. And again, today's show is really about sharing facts. We want to make sure we get information out there in the community, accurate information as we have it, that has been reported on. So we'll touch base on that first, since it's such a hot topic in our community. And then our second segment, we're going to talk about know your rights. And again, we're starting to see, obviously, we're seeing it around the country, stepped up immigration activities and immigration enforcement. And we're starting to see that obviously more and more closer to home. And I think it's important for everyone to just know what your rights are, and make sure that, again, we're doing what we need to do to be safe, just be calm, and to protect our families. So I think that's important information that we, again, want to share out in the community. So we're going to be doing this in a bilingual format. So we have Yajaira here that's going to be a part of our efforts here. Yajaira, good morning.
Buenos días a todos. Gracias por estar aquí con nosotros en el 21.3 Albright College Radio, WXAC. El señor Toledo acaba de decir que para hoy tenemos dos temas importantes, la cual queremos hablar con la comunidad o educar. Primeramente nos vamos a enfocar en hablando sobre el edificio o el almacén que ha cobrado el Gobierno Federal, que está localizado en Hamburg, a darle unos datos e información para que se mantengan informados. Y también la segunda parte entonces de nuestra show es para que ustedes conocen sus derechos, ¿verdad? Qué cosas pueden hacer, lo que no pueden hacer, lo que deben de hacer y cómo nos podemos proteger uno al otro y mantener safe nuestra comunidad, seguro.
All right, so let's start, let's talk about the facts. Again, you're listening to 91.3 Latino Voice Live here on Albright College Radio. So we know the news has been reported. Again, Karen Shuey of the Reading Eagle has been covering this story since it broke, that the federal government has purchased a large warehouse property in Upper Berks Township, okay? And again, what we want to do today is just try to inform and reduce any kind of information that, again, we may not have accurate information on. So let's focus on what's verified and what's not confirmed yet, and what questions the community might want to ask next, and what questions are out there. So what we know, what's confirmed in public records and reported locally, is that I.C.E., part of the United States Department of Homeland Security, finalized the purchase of a 62-acre property at 3501 Mountain Road in Upper Bern Township for $87.4 million. And the property includes a 527,000 square foot warehouse. Okay, this was reported. It's based on a deed that was filed with the county. Okay, so again, that's factual. Okay, the township and county officials, as was reported, said that, again, they've only learned of the sale of this purchase to the federal government on Monday, and that they didn't have many details, have any details on how the property will be used at that time. Okay, so didn't have that information in terms of how it would be used. So what we don't know right now, and I think it's important, what we don't know right now is we don't have a timeline, right? We don't have a timeline for when it's going to be built out, how it's going to be built out, what operations are going to be taking place there. Again, to be determined. Hamburg, or that warehouse, is one of many across the country that ICE has purchased as it relates to their immigration efforts. So again, we still are waiting to hear exactly what is going to happen out of that warehouse. We're still waiting on capacity numbers and what kind of capacity that site may have. So again, there are still questions. There are still questions out there, and we don't know anything. And this is more local for the people who live in the Hamburg area and that community. We don't know how this is going to affect the traffic, how this is going to affect infrastructure, how this is going to affect local service impacts. That's going to require formal plans and coordination with the local township. So there is a lot more questions out there than we have facts for. But I wanted to at least share those facts clearly, make sure that, again, share at least what we have at our disposal so that our community has that information as well. So at this time, I'm going to pass it on to Yajaira, where she can share this information to our Spanish-speaking listeners here in our greater Reading and Berks County community.
Gracias, señor Toledo. Entonces le voy a traducir le voy a traducir todo lo que dijo el señor Toledo. Comenzando con lo que le queremos compartir hoy son los datos actuales, la cosa que en sí sabemos 100%, y después sabemos que todavía hay muchas preguntas o cosas que no se saben. Pero para darle, como le digo, le dijimos anteriormente, más información, ¿verdad? Lo que sabemos en sí es que I.C.E., que es de parte del Departamento de Seguridad Nacional, compró una propiedad de 62 acres en la 3501 Mountain Road por 87.4 millones de dólares. Esta propiedad queda en Upper Bern Township, que es también parte de Hamburg, es parte de ese condado. Incluye un almacén de 527,000 pies cuadrados. Las autoridades locales indicaron que aún no conocieron nada de los planes específicos y solamente aprendieron que la compra era final este lunes pasado. ¿Cómo se sabe que sí fue una compra y que es actual? Porque existe un título, ¿verdad? Un título de compra o de la propiedad. Todavía no se sabe cuáles son los planes para el uso del edificio o el área que compraron. No tenemos fechas que nos indica para cuándo lo van a comenzar a utilizar. La capacidad especificada para este lugar tampoco se sabe, y tampoco el tipo de operación que ellos van a utilizar en la área. Lo que sí también sabemos que este solamente es uno de los lugares que se han comprado, y hay muchos más lugares que ellos han comprometido a comprar en los Estados Unidos completo. Otra cosa es como ese edificio está en pleno como en una ciudad, ¿verdad? Lo que no sabemos también es cómo va a afectar el tráfico o los servicios. Les repetimos lo mismo, que no se sabe en sí para qué uso ese edificio va a servir y cómo no va a afectar a la comunidad grande.
Thank you, Yajaira. So, the articles also that we've read to try to understand is that, again, as I shared, nationally, the reporting nationally is that I.C.E. is exploring converting warehouses into either detention centers or processing facilities, including, again, there are discussions about the potential of adding housing units on the property, medical area, legal meeting rooms, recreation space. Again, this is all in the articles that we've read in terms of what may be put on that property. So again, it's important that we understand that there are more questions out there that the community has, right? We don't have all the answers. Again, this was a private, one of the things that people are saying is, again, why didn't the government officials or elected officials do anything or know anything? Well, again, this was a private transaction. This was a transaction that was conducted between an entity that owned the property and the federal government. Again, so our local elected officials, again, didn't know about this until Monday, until it was recorded in the Recorder of Deeds. But again, we know that there are many questions that the community has. And I think that there are questions that people want to know, since this is something that's going to be in our county and in our community. Number one is again trying to get an understanding of what is the intended use of the space. Again, will this warehouse be used as a processing center? Will it be used as a detention center? Will it be used as administrative operations? We don't know yet. We don't know yet. Questions that the community is asking. Again, what specific agencies will run the facilities? Will there be local point of contact at the facilities. In terms of infrastructure changes, especially for the individuals that live in that township. I mean, this is a massive undertaking, this warehouse. And so in terms of water, sewer, electricity, power, road access, again, a lot of questions that, again, the community wants to learn more about, hear about, understand, especially those that live in the area around where the warehouse is going to be. What are the public safety and emergency plans are going to be in place? You know, in terms of if there's something that may happen up there at the warehouse. And again, lastly, what community engagement will occur? You know, how will information be shared with neighbors that live nearby or close to the warehouse? Will there be public briefings? Will there be information? I think everyone in our community, regardless of your position on the having this in our county, what people want and need is transparency, information, so that they know exactly what is going to happen there at the warehouse. So I think that's important. I mean, again, I think the community has a right for that information, and I think that's fair for that information to, again, come out and be shared. And that's what we're hearing anyway for folks that are reaching out and asking questions here at the Centro.
Entonces, lo que el señor Toledo acaba de decir, que existen muchas preguntas sobre por qué la comunidad no tenía conocimiento o no le dieron la información sobre esta compra antes que sucediera para ellos entonces poder hacer algo. La realidad es que la transacción fue entre un agente, una compañía privada, directamente con el gobierno federal. O sea que tampoco los oficiales elegidos no tenían conocimiento de lo que estaba sucediendo, que estaba en trámite, lo que iba a pasar. Todo eso estamos aprendiendo la información a la misma vez, a partir del lunes. Entonces, hay ciertas preguntas que la comunidad nos han hecho ya también en el Centro Hispano, a que no tenemos la respuesta. Algunas de las preocupaciones es cuál será el uso exacto. Como no se sabe, claro que uno anda un poco miedoso, porque como no tenemos la información, hay uno también que tener cuidado, ¿verdad? ¿Quién lo va a administrar y quién será el contacto local? Esas son otras preguntas que nos han hecho que tampoco sabemos. Ellos tampoco lo han publicado. ¿Qué cambios de infraestructura, me perdona, se requieren, ¿verdad? Si ellos van a utilizar el agua, el sewer, electricidad, cómo eso va a afectar la comunidad, las calles, cuando uno va manejando y los servicios que hablamos anteriormente. ¿Cómo será el plan para emergencias y primeros respondedores? Tampoco se sabe cómo se va a afectar a la comunidad grande. ¿Y qué mecanismos de información pública habrá? Tampoco se sabe. Nosotros lo que vamos a hacer nuestra parte, a compartir información según lo estamos aprendiendo, para que también la comunidad se mantenga al día de los datos actuales.
So one of the things that I think is important, again, we'll talk in a little bit about the second segment and the Know Your Rights, but I think it's important for us in Berks County to know and understand that, again, this is not exclusive to Berks County. Again, the federal government has purchased warehouses across the country. And as we all know, local government across the country and in different states are different, okay? Different laws, different rules in terms of how they can go about when it comes to these warehouses that were purchased. Again, here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, again, the federal government has the ability to come in and transact business as they have, and that's what they did. I believe that again locally, the township where the warehouse is located. I believe they are going to be next week or two, Upper Burn Township. They'll be, once they receive information from the federal government, they'll be sharing that information. And again, I think it's fair that the community wants to know. I mean, this is in their backyard. They want to know what's going to happen in that facility. My ask is that, the community, wait to make sure that we get accurate information from local representatives to find out exactly what is going to happen as it relates to that space. I think it's important. And again, if and when local officials or DHS or public affairs want to share that verified information, I think that's important for our community. We would welcome that here. Again, I think it's important for our community to understand and know that, again, number one, this is not just happening here in Berks County. This is happening across the country. And again, different places, different parts of the country are handling it in different ways. Okay? So my ask is that, again, as a community, I think it's fair and just to want to ask questions to make sure that whatever is happening, that we understand how it's going to affect us and impact our community. And again, let's wait to hear from our local officials as they get information from the federal government, so that we understand what is happening, how it may impact our community, and as a community, again, what are those next steps as it relates to the activities that may happen up in Hamburg.
Pero también queremos compartir que lo que ha sucedido ahorita en Berks County no solamente está sucediendo aquí, que también está pasando en otras partes de los Estados Unidos. O sea que el gobierno federal también están comprando diferentes edificios o acres para esto mismo, ¿verdad? Entonces, lo que nos han dicho es que el Upper Burn Township va a compartir información sobre ese proyecto según ellos lo tengan disponible. Lo que le pedimos a la comunidad es que se mantengan calmados, informados, y también invitamos a los oficiales elegidos o las organizaciones, el departamento de I.C.E. o de Seguridad Nacional, si ellos quieren venir a darnos información, estamos dispuestos a escuchar, a ver cómo nos podemos informar y entonces tomar decisiones adecuadas.
So, at this point, again, this is the information that we have. Again, we want to make sure that we continue to share accurate information. So again, we'll do that as information arrives. And again, the reality of how things are at this point. Thank you. I forgot about that. The reality of how things are right now is that, again, this is a federal directive. Again, we are seeing the immigration and enforcement happening closer and closer to home. Now, the reality is, in terms of immigration enforcement and ICE activity, this is not a new thing for us here in Berks County and in the Commonwealth. This is not something that's new to this administration. There's been ICE activity and ICE enforcement and immigration activity and enforcement for decades here in our community. So I think what's important, and we'll discuss in the next segment, is just, okay, if in fact you witness immigration activity, immigration enforcement, we want to share best practices for our community to adhere to understand, so that, again, we're keeping each other safe, we're keeping each other accountable, and again, we're doing what's right and what's just when it comes to, if in fact we were to see or be a part of any type of immigration activity or enforcement. So we will share information in our next segment. Again, you're listening to WXAC Albright College Radio, Latino Voice Live, here at 91.3. We appreciate those that are following us online. I see there may be some comments. If there are comments on Facebook, we'll go through them during the commercial break. If anyone has any kind of comments or questions that we might be able to answer on air, we'll look to do that.
Es importante, como dijo el señor Toledo, que recuerden que no es la primera vez que esto sucede en nuestra comunidad. El asunto, el tema de inmigración, siempre ha sido algo que no persigue, ¿verdad? Más en Pensilvania. Esto solamente describe un concepto general reportado, no confirma automáticamente lo que ocurrirá aquí hasta que existen planes oficiales. Solo repito, manténganse informados, calmados. Y entonces el próximo segmento vamos a hablar sobre los derechos y cuáles son las cosas que usted puede o no pueden hacer aquí después que nosotros regresamos de un breve pausa. Pausa. Nada más bebí un jarro de café, nada más bebí una. Hoy se necesita dos.
All right.
I had coffee today, I did.
I love it.
Only one.
Again, on Facebook, if you have any comments or questions, again, we're here to inform, we're here to educate, we're here to engage, just to make sure that we're getting accurate information out to our constituents, to our community, to the community that we serve. So we appreciate you coming on. Share the video, share the stream, because the more that our community is made aware of what's going on, accurate information, the better we all are. Again, transparency is key. So thank you again for being on. Appreciate the love. Thank you.
We're still live. All right. Love it. Live.
Yeah, we're still live. We're on a commercial break right now. And we'll get ready with the second segment shortly. Again, any questions you guys want to put on the feed on Facebook, please feel free.
Oh, this is so...
You good?
Yeah, I mean, it's about the topic we're talking about today.
Oh, yeah?
So they reached out to one of our coworkers asking if we know of anyone that can do a presentation on I.C.E. And the new purchase and
Oh, look at that.
all the details.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, then we can go at the end. Well, let's see how when we, PTR.
Mm-hmm. Again, we'll be starting the segment shortly. Second segment will be focused on know your rights. Topic very important, folks in our community. Again, thank you for joining us here on Latino Voice Live, here on WXAC 91.3 Albright College Radio.
Let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, we can go ahead. All right, good morning. We are back. Again, 91.3 FM WXAC Albright College Radio. You're listening to Latino Voice Live. We touched on in the first part of our show, again, information. We want to get factual information, reported, verified information on the purchase of the warehouse in Hamburg and what we know at this point in terms of what may be happening up at the site. And we'll continue to provide updates and information as it becomes available. But we thought it was very important that we touch on some best practices as it relates to knowing your rights, okay? And knowing your rights specifically when it comes to immigration enforcement or immigration activity. Now, again, the information that we're going to share today is just general information, general best practices that have been, has been gathered and from organizations from around the country. This is not legal advice. We are not lawyers. We're not giving legal advice. Again, laws and individual situations will vary. But if you need legal advice or legal help, again, we're always going to encourage you to contact a qualified immigration attorney or a qualified, trusted organization that focuses their efforts on immigration law, things of that nature. So again, that's going to be the topic that we're going to discuss right now. Again, best practices around know your rights.
Buenas tardes, sorry. Buenos días todavía. Dios mío, aquí cuando vamos para un break y regresamos, una pausa, como que se me cambia la hora en la mente. Entonces, gracias por regresar con nosotros. Estamos aquí, WXAC 91.3 FM Latino Voice en vivo.
Mm-hmm.
Bueno, Albright College Radio.
That's it.
Entonces, como dijo el señor Toledo, estamos aquí para dar recomendaciones o información de cuáles son sus derechos. No somos abogados, no estamos dando información o aviso legal. Solamente es para que ustedes sepan cuáles son algunas de las prácticas mejores para hacer en dado caso se tope con un agente de I.C.E. Si en dado caso necesita información sobre un abogado que especializa en inmigración, sí le podemos dar esa información para que entonces usted pueda hablar y tomar más información profundamente con un abogado que especialice en esa área.
All right, so the first information we're going to share is if you are at your home. If you are home, you're in your home. Again, knowing your rights, okay? So the first thing that we want to share is, in terms of you do not need to open your door unless you are shown a judicial warrant signed by a judge, okay? So if immigration enforcement were to come and knock on your door, again, you do not need to open the door unless they show a judicial warrant signed by a judge. Ask them to please slide the judicial warrant under the door or hold it to the window. Okay. Again, you do have the right to say that I do not consent to entry. Okay, you can say that. You do have the right to remain silent and to speak to a lawyer before signing anything. Okay? So again, at home, You do not need to open a door unless they show a judicial warrant that is signed by a judge. You can ask them to slide it under the door or hold it to the window to see it. You are afforded the right to say, I do not consent to entry. And you do have the right to remain silent and to speak to a lawyer before signing any kind of document. Again, very important to know. So again, you could say, okay, officer, I'm not opening the door. Please show a warrant signed by a judge. Again, I do not consent to a search. I choose to remain silent, and I want to speak to a lawyer. Those are rights that everyone has. And again, very important for us to want to just share that information for you so that you have it.
Queremos revisar los derechos básicos que una persona tiene más cuando están en su hogar y le vienen y le tocan la puerta. Si los oficiales de inmigración necesitan, para ellos entrar a su hogar, ellos necesitan una orden judicial válida firmada por un juez. A veces ellos tienen papeles que parecen ser una orden firmada por un judicial, pero en sí no son. Usted tiene el derecho a pedirle que le pasen la orden por debajo de la puerta o que se la muestran para una ventana, así usted lo puede leer. También tiene el derecho de no responder o hablar, tiene derecho de decir, ejerzo mi derecho a guardar silencio. Y también en dado caso, no tiene que firmar documentos que ellos le pasen. Usted puede pedir hablar con un abogado para que pueda revisar los documentos antes de firmar. Le vamos a repetir, right? Oficial, no voy a abrir, por favor muéstrame una orden firmada por un juez. Puede también decir, no doy consentimiento para una búsqueda, no voy a permitir que usted entre, y elijo guardar silencio y quiero hablar con un abogado. Esos son los términos que usted también puede utilizar como derechos básicos.
So at this time, obviously we just shared information if you're at home. Now, we want to share information because we're seeing more and more across the country. We're seeing immigration enforcement or ICE activity that may be happening in public. So you may be in public, whether you're at a store, whether you're in your car, okay? So again, general best practices that we want to share. If again you come in contact with immigration enforcement out in public or in your car. Number one, please stay calm. Do not run. Stay calm, do not run. Ask the question, am I free to leave? Am I free to leave? If yes, then you leave calmly. If you ask the question, am I free to leave? And they say no, you're not free to leave. Remember, you can remain silent and ask for a lawyer. Ask for an attorney. Have an attorney, have contact information for an attorney that you can call in a situation like this. And again, do not sign documentation that you do not understand. Do not sign documentation that you do not understand. That is what an attorney is for. They can explain that to you. So again, in public, in your car, stay calm. Do not run. That'll make the situation worse. Ask, am I free to leave? If they say yes, then just leave calmly. If they say no, you can remain silent. Ask for an attorney. That is your right. And do not sign any documents that you do not understand. Again, very simple, but very important guidelines and best practices to share with loved ones.
Ok. Entonces, en dado caso, Anteriormente ya le compartimos información, en dado caso ellos van a su domicilio o su casa, ¿verdad? Y le tocan la puerta. En dado caso, como estamos viendo en la comunidad, que ellos le están acercando a la gente según están en la tienda o en su auto, ¿tiene alguno, ¿cómo se dice? Prácticas mejores o recomendadas que usted puede utilizar en ese momento, ¿verdad? Primeramente deberían de mantenerse calmados. No corran. Si en dado caso ellos le paran y quieren hablar con usted, tiene el derecho usted de preguntarle a ellos, ¿estoy libre para irme? Si dicen que sí, entonces se puede ir tranquilamente. Si no, entonces tener el derecho de guardar silencio y pedir un abogado. No firme documentos, especialmente si no lo entienden o si no están en su idioma natal. Piden hablar con un abogado para asegurar que ellos le pueden asesorar. De nuevo le vamos a repetir, ¿verdad? Si le paran en la comunidad, siendo en una tienda o en el auto, siempre pregunte, manténganse calmados, no corran porque eso le puede perjudicar. Pregunte si está libre para irse y si dicen que sí, se vaya tranquilamente. Si no, pueden guardar silencio y pedir un abogado y no firmen ningún documento que no entiendan.
You know, we know times like these are stressful. You know, if you know, people find themselves as it relates to being, you know, involved with immigration. That's why we want to share these simple, straightforward best practices that people can utilize if they find themselves in situations where they come face to face with immigration enforcement. Now, you know, in terms of, you know, another situation that may come up, and this information is not just, we're not sharing this for folks in our community. This is for everyone. Everyone. Whether you're here and you're a U.S. citizen, whether you're here, you know, and you have documentation to be here, whether you're part of a mixed status family. Again, this is for everyone. These best practices that we're sharing, and it's important for everyone to know and for everyone to understand the rights that they have. So we also want to talk about if you witness an enforcement action, okay? So again, this is a situation where, you know, the immigration enforcement is not something that you're directly involved with, but maybe you're at a store and you see immigration activity, or you're in a neighborhood and you see that there's ICE activity taking place, okay? Again, if you're witnessing an enforcement action, again, important things to keep in mind, best practices to keep in mind. Number one, please prioritize safety. Prioritize your safety, the safety of the community. Keep your distance. Keep your distance. Don't interfere in the enforcement action. Okay? You are able to document. Okay? Document from a lawful distance in public. Okay? You can document from a lawful distance in public. Follow our local guidelines. Stay safe. Do not obstruct. Do not obstruct. Again, it's very important. We're hearing it from across the country that the emphasis on maintaining appropriate distance from any kind of enforcement activity, non-interference, okay? Again, so important. Again, you can document, okay? You can capture what's happening, but do it from a from a lawful distance in public. So important for our community to understand and to know that, because again, we want safety first. We want to protect our community. We want to protect those in and around our communities.
Okay, gracias por compartir eso. Como estaba diciendo el señor Toledo, si usted es testigo de un operativo de control migratorio, usted tiene el derecho de grabar lo que está sucediendo siempre cuando usted mantenga una distancia adecuada y no interfiere en lo que ellos están haciendo. Es importante que usted priorice su seguridad, ¿verdad? Mantenga la distancia y no intervenga. Usted, como le digo, pueden grabar desde una distancia legal en un lugar público sin obstruir. I translated everything.
Very good. I mean, again, so critically important. You know, again, you see what's happening nationally, you see what's happening in other areas. You know, let's learn and make sure we're doing things, again, the right way to protect our community, to protect those. Now, another area that I want to focus on is just, again, being prepared. Being prepared. And again, these are for all of us, making sure that we have our ID with us at all time, making sure that you have your information in order. So important. Again, we don't know what the future holds. We don't know what type of activities we may see around immigration enforcement here in Berks County, in Reading. But again, as I mentioned earlier on the show, immigration enforcement, ICE activity has been happening in our area forever. This is not a new phenomenon. It has been happening. But because there's such attention to it now, because currently we're seeing the activity across the country, what's happening, we think it's very important, just as a reminder, to let people know how to be prepared, how to prepare their family, so to make sure that, again, that we are in the best position, that if we do come across this, that we're safe, that we're calm, we're taking care of our families. So number one, we're asking every family, please keep emergency contacts and a child care plan. Those that have children, again, when there's activity, immigration activity, we've got to make sure that if something were to happen, there's a plan for the children. Have a plan in place. Talk to your family. Talk to your extended family. Talk to your neighbors. Talk to those that you trust, those that are in your network. Again, you want to make sure that you have emergency contacts, that people know who to contact if in fact immigration enforcement is something you find yourself dealing with, and making sure you have a child care plan for the little ones. Okay? Number two, please keep copies of your important documentation in a safe place. Okay? You should have important documentation in a safe place, whether it's at home. Maybe it's a copy that you maintain at a family member's house. Again, make sure copies of important documentation are in a safe place. Again, because of the enforcement efforts, we want to make sure if you have your documentation, that's the best position to be in, to make sure that they see and they have that information if they ask for it. Okay? And lastly, what we've talked about, identify a trusted local legal resource. Okay? Again, whether that's the ACLU of Pennsylvania, HIAS, Pennsylvania, Aldea here locally, the Community Justice Project, just to name a few local organizations, any immigration attorney, again, that you deal with. Identify and make sure that you have a trusted local legal resource. Okay? Those are the best practices that we have in order to be prepared. It's best to be prepared and have nothing happen than to have something happen and we're not prepared. Okay, so critically important. So again, please be prepared. Keep emergency contacts. Have a child care plan if you're responsible for children or have children. Keep copies of important documentation in a safe place, and identify a trusted local legal resource that you can call on if in fact you need their legal guidance, their legal advice.
Entonces, lo que acaba de decir el señor Toledo, como ustedes saben, han pasado algunas tragedias a lugares alrededor de nosotros, ¿verdad? Están viendo las cosas que están pasando en la comunidad, entonces es importante a uno ser o estar preparado. Algunas cosas que pueden hacer para asegurar que están preparados en dado caso pasa algo de lo que esperamos, ¿verdad? Mantengan contactos de emergencia y un plan de cuidado infantil. Es importante que usted tenga esa lista de emergencia y que la gente saben también que son parte de esa lista de emergencia, que ellos pueden ayudarle en dado caso es necesario. El plan para los niños y la familia, como ustedes saben, si algo sucede cuando los niños están en la escuela y una tragedia pasa que los padres no están, entonces ellos tienen también que saber cuáles son las opciones o qué ellos pueden hacer. Compartir también esa información con las escuelas es importante. Aparte de eso, también debería de guardar copias de documentos importantes en un lugar seguro, sea en la casa, en una caja fuerte, sean con familias que uno confía, o hasta en los bancos ofrecen cajas fuertes. What do you call those boxes?
Lock boxes.
The lock boxes,
safe boxes.
sí, safe boxes con los bancos para mantener los documentos seguros. También es importante que usted identifique recursos legales confiables. Aquí en Reading tenemos a Aldea, Community Justice Project, y en dado caso, si no están seguros y necesitan ayuda localizando esa información, se pueden comunicar con el Centro Hispano.
Yeah, I think it's, again, so critically important that we know the information that we are prepared. Again, it's important. You know, the Centro Hispano is always going to be an institution here in our community that will share accurate information for our community. Again, will help, to separate, the facts from information that may be out there. Again, we just have to make sure that we're all on the same page when it comes to the information that is out there. Again, we'll continue to do our part at the Centro to make sure that information is available. We'll be putting information out. I would ask folks to, again, follow us on the Centro Facebook page and on our website. We'll have more information as it relates to know your rights, so that, again, ultimately what we want is we want a community to be safe. We want our community to follow the laws. We want to make sure our community is protected, okay? Because a community that lives together, plays together, works together, okay, worships together, is a strong community. And that's what we have here in Greater Reading and Berks County. Again, I've lived here all my life. I've been a part of this community. I know that there's more that binds us than separates us here in Berks County. So be a part of the work that we're trying to do to educate, empower, and engage our community. Again, know that you can trust the Centro. Know that we will continue to use this platform at the radio station to reach our community, and let us know what you're seeing, what you're hearing out in the community, so that everybody is on the same page. Again, know you're not alone, and together we can lift up our community.
Entonces, para finalizar, también queremos indicarle que es recordar, la verdad, es importante a uno estar preparado. Nosotros nos vamos a seguir dedicando a compartir información sobre el asunto según lo tenemos, según nosotros aprendemos, lo vamos a también estar diciendo la dirección. Si ustedes nos siguen en la página del Centro Hispano en Facebook, por favor de seguirlo, que ahí también vamos a estar compartiendo información, y también en nuestra página de web, www.centrohispano.org. Right?
That's it.
Okay.
Centrohispano.org.
Queremos una comunidad que es seguro, una comunidad que sigue las leyes y una comunidad que es protegida. Entonces, ayúdanos a hacer eso. Según ustedes también aprenden diferentes cosas y quieren compartir, por favor, déjanos saber para nosotros investigar y a dar la información adecuada a la comunidad. Gracias.
Yeah, we want to thank everybody for listening and being a part of our show today. Again, this information will be on our live stream. Our ask is to please share it. Get this information out to the community that needs it. Again, very important, so that the accurate information is out there. So again, thank you for listening. Again, you're listening to Latino Voice Live on WXAC 91.3 FM, Albright College Radio. Thank you for tuning in.
Gracias por estar aquí con nosotros.
That's it.
WXAC 91.3, Albright College Radio, Latino Voice en vivo. Gracias. Por favor, de compartir el video en Facebook.
There you go. Be
Yeah,
safe,
yeah.
everyone.
You say a lot of things, you know.
Yeah, we did.
Ay, es que dice mucho y no me deja traducir.
My bad. All right, Facebook family, thank you for being on with us. Hopefully, we did the community proud. Again, we're just trying to get information out there. So again, we'll get information out to the community. I'm just reading some comments here just to see what folks have to say. Again, we appreciate the information, positivity that we're seeing.
Yo trato de traducir, pero yo estoy escribiendo, así vos estás hablando. Porque dice cosas, dice, ay, vos está bueno, déjame traducir, pero...
Yeah, might say a lot of things, and you say like a little thing.
All right, folks, again, thank you again. Be safe. Appreciate you.
Bye.
God bless.